in 24 hours or less or more. I'm not very good at calculating time differences. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains will be upon us, the 6th entry into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise, as we get a new one every 3 years or so because money, I guess. I don't know. And before the episode happens, we're going to take a few minutes and talk about my 10 big expectations or hopes or things I want out of this new series. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm doing this the day before instead of sometime last week, or maybe when we got our first little preview. Well, my friends, that's because of poor time management, but also because I've tried to avoid any sort of news about this one for a couple reasons. First up, we don't really know a lot. I mean, obviously I've read everything in Code of the Duelist because I'm really excited to play the Stargrail, so I have an idea where things might go, at least card game duel wise. But from what we've seen, I know we've had some side characters revealed. I really have kept my nose out of like rumors and stuff like that. I want this to feel fresh. I want it to feel alive. I want it to feel new. But I also want some other things. And that's what we're here today to talk about. So to anyone watching this list, if in episode 1, half of the stuff on this list is either confirmed or disproven or whatever, remember, this list was done before that. And also, if any of this stuff has been leaked, also remember, I've stayed away from spoilers. But without further ado, let's get started. So this first one, and even these first couple, I think are pretty obvious and things we don't really have to worry about, but I do think they do need to be addressed. Feeling original in the shonen genre can be tough. There are a lot of tropes, and when you are the 6th entry into a franchise that has to follow a fairly strict formula just to function, being original can be very hard. However, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been very good at keeping each story feeling fresh and new and unique and giving it its own place in the anime world, especially considering how many other toy animes either follow the same formula, like, say, the Beyblade franchise or the Beat-em-on franchise. Oh, wait, that second one barely worked the second time or the first time. Or even, say, Cardfight Vanguard, which basically repeated the exact same formula it did from the first series. Being original is not something I really overly worry about with Yu-Gi-Oh! But, again, certain tropes that seem to be going on from Yu-Gi-Oh! To Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want to be there. Like, I think we saw in the 30-second preview, Yuusaku has a dad. Pleased enough with the, my dad's not here and that's sad. I really hope the female character isn't a childhood friend. I hope that stupid-looking guy isn't just another Goganzaka. Like, let Yu-Gi-Oh! Feel original, and that's what I want. Don't screw the animation up. I talked about this in the top 5 failings of Arc 5, and considering what little we've seen of Vrains, it seems like it's taking the art direction in a very interesting path. Now, they brought back people who worked on Zale and 5Ds, in my opinion, the best 2 looking Yu-Gi-Ohs as a whole, so again, not overly worried about this one, but I need to address it because from what we've seen, again, obviously we mostly just saw a 30-episode preview. We saw a lot of dark colors, a lot of blues and grays and blacks, especially considering our main character's design. And it can be really easy to screw that up and make the world look dull and uninteresting. Again, maybe I don't have to address this one, but I think it is worth it, especially with all the blue on this edgelord-looking guy. I never thought I had to say this, but please, dear God, don't make the cast too big. This really is important because Arc 5's huge cast was one of its big detriments. And as I was doing that for the top 5 problems, I actually realized this problem has happened before. GX had a large cast, and I can't remember half the characters in that one. 5Ds had trouble handling 6 characters. Zale had a lot of characters as well. This franchise does have a problem with throwing a lot of people at you. Again, just stop. Learn from your mistakes, especially after last time. Please, dear God, don't give us another group of Lancers. Let the director direct. I know you, Konami. I know you guys really don't like letting your people do their jobs without micromanaging it the whole time. But you hired a director who has shown his talent. He's shown he knows how to jump into a franchise, give the fans what they want while updating what needs to be updated. Let him do that. I don't want to be hearing in 3 years when I'm trying to figure out what I liked and didn't like about Vrains that you guys screwed everything up again. After this Maximum Crisis debacle, you've already got enough negative attention. Don't get any more from me. Remember when I said, like 1 or 2 of these ago, that Yuusaku looks a little edgelordy? Yeah, don't make him edgelord. Don't make the characters in this emo. Emo characters are annoying, and I'm not saying characters shouldn't have drama or serious moments, so there shouldn't be serious situations, but the difference between, say, a Sasuke Uchiha or a Seto Kaiba is that one is just obnoxious drama on top of obnoxious drama on top of just being a jerk, whereas the other actually you believed why he was the way they were. You can have characters have drama, but don't make it that every 5 seconds they're just whining about how miserable they are and how the world needs to die at their fingertips. Don't skimp on the drama. Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm telling this to you. I've seen you do it before. You get a little worried everything's getting too dark, so you keep it in that cheap little soft spot. I think all the Yu-Gi-Ohs maybe had this issue, but when it's time to be dramatic and it's time to be serious, let it be dramatic and serious. Don't take away anything from what a situation could be because of time or because you're afraid. In other words, what I'm saying is whatever plot you open up, let it fully be explored. Don't bog it down in subplots or give characters screen time over others just to control how that gets handled. So when Yuusaku was revealed to us, which he was actually revealed before the actual show was, I said that I was disappointed because I wanted a female lead. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to harp on this too much anymore, as what's done is done, and I am excited for Vrains, but please give the girl something to do. Don't make her just the pretty fan service like what they kind of did with Alexis and Akiza. Don't make her just some sort of generic love interest. Don't make it she's good for a little while and then get rid of it. I want her to have an actual role in this. The thing is that rather what you feel of a female character's role in a shonen should be or could be, the thing is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Does rely on its characters, and they showed us this girl for a reason, and I want it to be that reason is because she's important. She already has a very unique design from the last couple in that she looks very normal, like this is a person who could actually exist. And I think that could be really interesting, and I hope it's indicative of the character's role. Remember, when we saw the 3 characters we saw, the big Gogenzaka-looking guy was smiling. Yuusaku and Aoi, or however you pronounce her name, aren't. I want that to mean something, and I want her to mean something. So, if you haven't heard, and if you've been living under a rock, Attack on Titan Season 2 is here. And I've been pretty much enjoying it. Like, yeah, I've made fun of Attack on Titan a couple times during the year, but with the series actually back, I'm reminded how cool and high-octane it actually is. I'm also reminded how much I hate Eren, and how much I hate characters like Kirito, and how much I can't stand characters like Yuya. So this spot is specifically dedicated to making sure Yuusaku is not a prick and that he is actually likable. I know I kind of addressed this with the emo thing, but you can make the character not emo and have him still fail. Case in point, Yuya! The thing is that Yuusaku already has a very interesting past and a lot more unique drama presented from like his 2 lines that we know of him. And I want that to really work into a personality. Don't make it that he's only interesting because of his drama. Characters should be likable for who they are, not what they go through. And I want to care about Yuusaku. We're going to be stuck with this guy for a while. And I want that time to be beloved. Not putting my fingers in my ears and praying to God that Mikasa just beheads him. Make the rival strong. I like rivals. I want a good rival. I want an actual rival. No matter how you look at it in Arc 5, Yuya doesn't have much of a rival. Sawatori isn't in the story enough, nor does he pose a big enough threat to Yuya for that to feel really good. And Reiji is so overpowered that it doesn't even feel like a competition. I want the protagonist to have someone who, when he's up against this person, it makes him feel like he's growing. Like Kaiba, like Ryoga, like Jazz. Hell, even like Chaz, or Jack was the other one I was trying to say. Even that all worked. Rivals are some of the most beloved characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. For many people, even more so than the protagonists or Big Boob Nikiza chick. So because of this, don't screw it up. So my number 1 might seem a little weird to some of you, but trust me, it's very important. My number 1 is keep Yu-Gi-Oh! Feeling like Yu-Gi-Oh! What does that mean? Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is supposed to be optimistic. Follow me on this. There is supposed to be drama. it is supposed to get dark, and it has gotten very dark. Throughout the course of this franchise, it hasn't been afraid to give you feelings of feeling afraid, to give you feelings of feeling dramatic. Now, some of those, a lot of times that drama gets cut short, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't afraid to go to those places, but it always remembers to have a sense of hope and optimism. It always makes sure that you believe that there is a way. Good will prevail, and it will triumph. And I've always felt that with Yu-Gi-Oh! No matter how bad things got. And the only time I felt like that wasn't a big factor was the end of GX, where they made Jade into an emo douchebag. So that should sort of give you some ideas there. I want Yu-Gi-Oh! To feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! The uniqueness that makes Yu-Gi-Oh! And sets it apart from other shonens, and a big part of that I was talking about before does come from the fact that it is this very much optimistic and very non-cynical about it. I don't really follow many shonens anymore, but Boku no Hero Academia is maybe the only other one, and I would love a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series that's kind of like Boku no Hero Academia. But this is not that. It's its own thing, and we're seeing a lot of serious imagery, we're seeing a lot of dark imagery, we're seeing a lot of hints towards dramatic pasts and stuff. I would love to see Yu-Gi-Oh! Explore that and bring it to a level we haven't seen yet. But I want it all to still feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of people have been joking that since we heard about the virtual reality things, this is going to be like Yu-Gi-Oh! Sword Art Online. I don't do that. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to be Yu-Gi-Oh! And that means that things will get bad. Things will get hard. These characters are going to feel like hardships. Like I said with Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale. To get there and to feel like everything's going to turn out all right, you need to work for it. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a good way of making that work for it feel like slave labor. So please, enslave me, Yu-Gi-Oh! That sounds really wrong, doesn't it? Now I'm keeping it in. Tell me below what your hopes for Vrains are. And again, if you're watching this in the future, don't spoil anything. It's really not worth it. But as always, click to like and click to subscribe. And we'll be back by sometime tomorrow, I guess. I assume. What is time? What is tomorrow? What is yesterday? You tell me.